Intentionally blocking farmland with incomplete solar arrays. I mean, there's putting in solar farms, but just putting in the posts and not putting the panels up, that kind of makes it start looking like you're just trying to block the food and you're not even trying to produce the power. We got an update on that. We also have Wendy's, a report on Wendy's having shortages out there. Banks are also now dealing in some places with only $50 bills. No $100 bills to be seen. Because that makes sense. There's no cash shortage. Don't be looking here. We also have a report on Canada banning wood stoves in more and more cities. Yes, the land of wood and trees is banning wood stoves. Yes, for the planet. And a wave of hacking attacks affecting businesses and the border. Let's jump into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and these are your reports. Reports coming in from all over the world, as well as all over the United States. Please do keep your reports coming in. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. I know some of you guys don't have Google accounts. Don't worry about it. But if you do, please do subscribe if you can. That helps out the channel. We do want to thank our sponsor, Genesis Gold Group. They do a fantastic job helping people get out of stocks and bonds into gold, silver, and platinum in their retirement accounts. If you have a retirement account and you want to get into something safe, you might want to talk to Jonathan and his team. All right, this is a viewer from Cincinnati, Ohio. I had to work a 13-hour shift yesterday, so I did not feel like going home and cooking dinner. I only eat out about 2 times a year. Went to Wendy's because I had not had their food in over a year. First thing they said before ordering was they were out of bacon and no fries. That just blew my mind. You are right. More shortages are coming, I guess. Thank you for your reports. Take care and God bless. So yeah. When Wendy's runs out of French fries, you know there's a problem, right? We're seeing potato issues out there. There's a news article I saw a week ago or something like that. Here in Pennsylvania, running out of potatoes, the special kind of potatoes that they make Snyder's of Berlin's potato chips out of. They had bad harvests and apparently just don't have enough potatoes anymore. So they may have to switch to a different kind of potato, heaven forbid, But there are issues with potatoes out there, certain varieties and such. So Lily says, was under a boil order in Illinois. Called the company who installed my reverse osmosis system, was told I should not use it when under a boil order. So if you have a water filter system put in, an inline water system put in, make sure that it actually does what you think it does. Same thing with putting in a solar system. If you have it professionally installed or whatever like that, ask lots and lots of questions. When the power's out, will I have power? How will I have power? Under what circumstances will I not have power? With the water system, when can I use this? Is this actually going to be able to clean up water when it's not so clean? And you may be surprised by some of the answers. Anonymous asks for their name to be withheld. I am in the land surveying business in rural Ohio. What I am seeing here turns my stomach. There is an area south of McGuffey, Ohio, that contains some of the best and most valuable farmland this county has. You can see the dark black soil in the aerial photos. About 3 years ago, obviously Ohio is prime farming anyway. About 3 years ago, a huge solar farms began building on this land. It goes for miles. The most disturbing thing to me is this. For at least 2 years now, many hundreds of acres of these fields are in, but they don't have solar panels installed yet. Just the posts to hold them up, and of course tall fences surround them. I figure since hundreds of acres were developed and yet do not have panels, this would halt them from continuing to develop more posts. I was dead wrong. Thousands more are going in. It's eating up so much farmland, it's disturbing. We also have giant wind turbines. Many of them don't even turn. So we got windmills that don't turn, and we got solar power plants that don't have solar panels. I mean, we're not supposed to ask questions, friends. I know. That's a good way to get kicked off YouTube or any other social media these days, is asking questions where we're not supposed to ask questions about, why in the world, if you're trying to make money, would you build a solar power plant without solar panels? That's just a basic question you think would be asked. And like I said, why wouldn't they slow down the construction of putting posts in the ground? It seems like it's more about putting the posts in the ground and blocking the farm turbines from coming through than it is about producing power. And that should have us worried, because when it's more about the money from the government than it is from money from selling the power, you should know that this is really one big giant scam. And it really is. And if you're like, solar power isn't a scam, friends, then why don't anyone build them if there isn't subsidies? Okay? The only reason people work for the federal government is they get paid to work for the federal government. And the only reason businesses do what the federal government tells them to do is because the government pays them. And you got to realize that it's not about the power. It's about the political power. Mary says, we live in central Illinois. Over the weekend, my cousin needed to take her 6-year-old daughter to the emergency room of our local rural hospital. And when she started having severe abdominal pains, the hospital had to transfer her to a larger facility 70 miles away because there's nobody available on the weekends that know how to run the ultrasound machine. Not a super technical piece of equipment, but they also have been issues with getting MRIs done on the weekend there. Apparently, we either need to learn to schedule our emergency situations for during the week or just bypass the local hospital and go straight to the larger city. Oh, and it turned out that she needed an emergency appendectomy for her appendix, right? Surgery went well. She's at home recovering well. Thankfully, the situation hadn't progressed to the point of her appendix actually rupturing, or this could have been a very different update. Get back in a time machine, and is that the way it used to be? Where you couldn't get basic services even at a hospital? Just because you're rural, you had to travel over an hour to get to any hospital that can actually do basic ultrasounds, MRIs. Kristen says, I went to 2 different banks yesterday and they told me that the banks are limited on the amount of money they can have in the safe. Okay? Northern Indiana. Instead of $100 bills, I had to get $50 bills. Anyone else seeing that out there? Is anyone else seeing a shortage of $100 bills? Please do pop them down in the comments down below. If you have an update, just use the word update somewhere in your comment on any video on this channel. That gets it to the right place. Give us some sort of geographical location if you can too. Cynthia says, Steve, my husband works for Walmart and has been in 2 different states. Most people don't understand, what most people don't understand is that these are partial franchises and not all Walmarts will undergo updates. The in-store remodel is chosen by the high volume producing select stores. The Walton family still owns most of the stock, but they're not working the corporate end of things anymore. So pass that update along. I can't verify all of that necessarily about exactly how the ownership of each of the stores is. Obviously, there's stores that do really well and there's stores that don't do very well, and you can see the difference. You go to a suburban store and it looks different than you go to an urban store. I mean, for those of us who traveled at all, you know that, right? Alice says, I went by a food pantry yesterday morning on my way to the vet. I'd driven by before on days that they were giving food away, but yesterday there were tons of cars on both sides of the road. The church parking lot was full. The town has around 10,000 people. I asked my husband how many cars he thought there was. We both thought there was around 200 or so nice cars, old cars, and everything in between. Tevins, RN, says, In Hartford, Windsor, Connecticut, UPS has cut another 100 jobs, overnight pick and sorting staff. So even though UPS has said that that this was all going to be white-collar office workers, that from what you guys have been sharing from boots-on-the-ground type reports, we're not seeing that. We're seeing a lot of people not from the back office being let go across the board. Ali Bali says the EU seems to have given its into the farmers who are protesting, and so the president of the European Commission took the proposal to have pesticide usage within 6 years and dropped that. Also, they've reduced the farming-linked emissions guidelines, cutting it 90% by 2040. That has been removed from the plan, and so has the recommendation urging citizens to eat less meat. So that was a bunch of what farmers have been protesting. Of course, they got a bunch of local laws they're still going up against, but generally at the EU level, those were some of the most egregious, most inflammatory things that they were trying to ram through. So that is a victory. We'll count that one. So apparently the Europeans will be free to eat meat without being harassed by their government. It's the European Parliament elections in June coming up, and so who knows what might happen after that. The opera ain't over yet. The fat lady is not singing, right? Is that, were we trying to get around saying that? I think we can still say that, right? Carrie says, I'm in Southern Maryland. Our local Giant grocery store had to close early Saturday and Wednesday because of all the computer systems being down. No scanning of groceries, credit card system down. People were turned away from the Giant gas station too. People left their carts and went to Weis. So that was in Southern Maryland. Now we're hearing more and more about more and more hacks happening. There was a lull there for a while, but in the last several weeks, I've been getting a lot of reports from you guys about different places being hacked, hospitals as well as grocery stores and all sorts of places. Mama Wolf says, I just heard on the radio, on Radio Quebec, they are banning the use of wood stoves, pellet stoves, and fireplaces, anything that uses solid fuel, including coal, right? And that's as of today. Now, I'll go back and let you know some of the more specifics about this. They will be issuing fines from $300 to $1,000. They won't be issuing fines just yet because they want to make sure all residents get the news. But this was on a Quebec radio station that we pick up in New York just across the border. The ban has no end date. That's right. Now, what's going on with that? Montreal and some of the places in Ontario already have the firewood ban. This is for like city centers and like if you're part of a city. So Quebec City is now implementing this, and that just went in to effect this past Wednesday. So that just went in this week. They are no longer allowed to burn wood pellets or coal inside the city areas. They're not allowed to do it anymore, to save the planet. Which is just crazy. You can't have a wood fireplace. You can't do it because for the particles and something or I don't know what. But there's some scientists who have become legislators to explain it to us all. Leslie says, I'm on the road. I'm an over-the-road truck driver, and I pick up auto parts in Laredo, Texas. Now, these are parts that come from Mexico. Last week, the Customs Department computer system was hacked. It took them several days to get it back up. I'm down here now, and apparently it's the same issue again. So not only were they hacked, but then they were hacked again, and their systems are down. So Border Patrol can't even run their systems to let people in legally and let stuff in legally. But don't worry, the border is fully open for anyone who wants to come illegally, apparently. Now, a bunch of you guys did send me links to the sheriff over in Ohio, saying that he's going to start. He's calling for them to make it illegal by state law, sort of like what Texas did, for people to be in the country illegally, and that would be a criminal offense so that they could arrest them. But something I just want to remind you guys, while we use the term illegal, what you got to realize is what's happening is as soon as they cross the border, they're getting papers. That's the thing that's most aggravating about this is they are going straight to Customs, Border Patrol, ICE people. They're getting picked up. And then they immediately say that they're fleeing persecution or they're claiming asylum. At which time, they get a court date and they get a piece of paper saying that they're now an asylum seeker here in the United States. They get papers. And after, I think it's like 30 or 90 days, they can take that paper and they can actually apply for a work permit and they get the equivalent of a social security number so they can pay their taxes and they can get jobs. They're not illegal in the sense that they don't have papers. They have papers. The fact that their court date for their asylum hearing is 8, 9, 10 years out, and they get basically a free stay in the United States for the next 8 years before their court date comes up. I'm still going to call them illegals because they did not come here legally, and 2, until that court determines that they are actually legally here, they are, in this, that the federal government says they're legal, but they're not. Most of these people are claiming asylum from countries that they are not eligible for asylum from. And I'm sorry, but when you're coming from Mexico and you're coming from all these other countries, like, that's not legal asylum. Like, you have to be coming from a place where you're being persecuted. You have to be coming from communist China might be one of those places that should qualify for. But then you have to prove that you're one of the people being persecuted, not one of the people doing the persecution. Okay, so the fact is that you can pass these laws in Ohio, and it's a good symbolic thing to do, but it's really not going to do anything. Now, the reason why it's important that Texas passes that is because then the law enforcement agencies down there in Texas can arrest people before the Border Patrol issues them their papers. They can detain them, charge them with the crime, and then deport them before they even get in the hands of ICE or get in the hands of Customs and Border Patrol agents or get in front of an immigration judge. If they can get deported before they get that legitimate status, then it's better. So border states implementing those laws are important. Ohio, not so much, but I mean, kudos for them. But what needs to happen is we need a new administration in office. We need them to actually start enforcing the actual law and not just giving blanket amnesty to anyone who comes across the border. All right, friends, thanks so much for watching. If you want to get some more information about Genesis Gold, there's a link right there. If you want to check out another video from the channel, there's one right up there. Thanks so much for watching. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report.